In a recent chat with Esquire, Denzel Washington dropped some exciting news. The Equalizer 4 and Equalizer 5 are officially in the works. And let's be real, when a franchise gets 2 sequels lined up, you know there's going to be some fresh faces joining the action. So as always, we're here to break it all down for you. Let's dive in. Though Washington didn't provide a specific timeline for when these next 2 installments will hit the screen, he did open up about why he keeps coming back to play Robert McCall. He explained that these films resonate with audiences in a way that makes them special for him too. He put it best himself when he said, "I told them I would do another Equalizer, and we're doing 4 and 5. More people are happy about that. People love those daggone Equalizers. But I've come to realize that the Equalizer films are for me too, because they're for the people. They want me to go get the bad guys? We can't get them, so you go get them." And I say, "Okay, I'll get them. Just wait right there. I'll be right back." It's interesting because The Equalizer 3 was meant to be the conclusion to McCall's story. The film's marketing even labeled it as the final chapter, and the ending gave McCall a peaceful send-off. But despite this, director Antoine Fuqua hinted back in 2023 that he was open to continuing the story, saying, "Obviously, if Denzel wanted to do another one, I would as well, but I don't see it." Well, looks like he's seeing it now, because chances are he'll be back in the director's chair for these upcoming films. From a box office standpoint, the Equalizer movies have been a steady success. The Equalizer 3 pulled in a solid $191 million worldwide, with a budget of around $70 million. It had a strong 94% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, showing that fans were still very much on board with McCall's brutal sense of justice. Given these numbers, it's pretty likely that the Equalizer 4 and 5 will follow suit. That said, while the franchise has done well financially, its budgets haven't skyrocketed, and that's probably a good thing. The 4th film likely won't exceed Equalizer 3's $70 million budget, especially if they bring the setting back to the US instead of filming abroad. What's still up in the air, though, is how they'll justify bringing McCall out of retirement. The Equalizer 3 ended with him finding peace, so what would make him pick up his violent ways again? One possibility is that McCall simply realizes retirement isn't for him. Maybe he feels the itch to take on one last mission or gets roped back in by his new ally, Emma Collins. She was introduced in The Equalizer 3 as a CIA agent who developed a connection with McCall, so it wouldn't be surprising if she calls on him for a mission that requires his unique skill set. But if that's the case, the writers would need to find a way to avoid making Equalizer 4 feel like a rehash of Equalizer 3, where they give McCall another, final send-off. Interestingly, Fuqua has also thrown out the idea of doing a prequel film instead of a traditional sequel. In an interview with Joe Blow, he mentioned that exploring a young Robert McCall could be a really good idea. When asked who could play the younger version, he suggested someone like Michael B. Jordan or even John David Washington, Denzel's own son. "Wouldn't that be amazing?" Fuqua said, clearly excited about the concept. Given that the Equalizer films have always played with the idea of McCall's mysterious past, a prequel could actually be a compelling way to expand the franchise. On top of that, Fuqua has also considered using de-aging technology to let Denzel himself play a younger version of McCall. He pointed to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny as an example of how much de-aging has improved in Hollywood, saying, "I'm still watching the technology. I've watched Harrison Ford's film, and I know there's other movies coming out, and I'm hearing the technology is getting better and better and better." That said, using de-aging for an entire movie is still a risky move, and it might be more effective to just cast a younger actor instead. Of course, all of this is still up in the air, but one thing is clear: the Equalizer franchise isn't going away anytime soon. Even though Equalizer 3 was originally planned as the last installment, the demand for more McCall stories is clearly there, and Washington himself seems more than happy to deliver. Whether Equalizer 4 and 5 continue McCall's story, or we get a prequel exploring his origins, it's safe to say fans will be lining up to see him take down the bad guys once again. Fuqua himself has described Equalizer 3 as McCall's final masterpiece of violence, but as we've seen with so many franchises before, final doesn't always mean the end. The movie wrapped up McCall's journey in a way that felt satisfying, but not so definitive that a continuation would feel forced. If anything, the film made it clear that McCall has found peace, but peace is fragile, and all it takes is one major event to pull him back into the fight. That said, one insider report suggests that a major star could be joining Equalizer 4 and 5, especially since Denzel might be stepping back from future sequels. If Washington does decide to retire from the franchise, the studio will need a compelling lead who can carry the torch while maintaining the franchise's signature intensity. Several big names have been rumored or speculated as potential replacements, and one of the most talked about options is John David Washington. Given that he's Denzel's son and has already proven his action chops in films like Tenet and The Creator, he would be a natural choice. His casting would also create a seamless transition while maintaining a connection to McCall's legacy. Another name in the mix is Idris Elba, who has long been a fan favorite for action-packed roles. With his commanding screen presence and ability to bring both gravitas and physicality to a role, Elba could step in as a former government operative with his own unique style of justice. He's already demonstrated his action skills in Luther, the Fallen Son, and Hobbs and Shaw, making him a solid contender. Additionally, Michael B. Jordan has been mentioned as a potential successor. Jordan's performances in Creed and Without Remorse prove he can handle both the emotional weight and the intense action sequences required for a lead Equalizer role. He's also one of the most bankable actors in Hollywood today, which would add to the franchise's appeal. If the studio decides to take a different route, they could bring in an entirely fresh face to introduce a new kind of Equalizer. Someone like Keanu Reeves, who is already a legend in the action genre with John Wick, could bring a different style of precision-based combat. Reeves, however, may not be interested in committing to another long-running franchise. With the Equalizer 4 and 5 in development, the franchise has the opportunity to expand its reach by bringing in fresh star power. Whether Washington decides to stay involved or pass the baton, the Equalizer legacy is set to continue with or without him. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop, and if you want, you can share your thoughts about this video in the comments.